Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 7 of The Slam. Today is October 24th. Today is a Tuesday night. We got SmackDown Live tonight. And today's episode is actually going to be really cool because we got some really awesome WWE news. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting the show lately. I have a couple surprises happening this week, so that should be very exciting. By the way, I'm your host, Ango, so you guys can follow me on Twitter at Tango with Ango. Use the hashtag #TheSlam. The reason why you're going to want to do that is because the people that are commenting on the video or leaving tweets using that hashtag, I'll actually feature some of your comments and tweets in upcoming videos. So I definitely appreciate you guys for stopping by. So, episode 7 is finally here. We've talked about a lot of cool stuff happening recently, but today we got a lot of cool news in regards to Ronda Rousey finally coming to the WWE. And what that means. Now, for those who don't know, Ronda Rousey has been in the WWE in recent months, whether it be backstage or filling in, different appearances and stuff like that for social media. However, yes, it is true. There are plans to bring Ronda Rousey to the WWE, and a lot of people are seeing it as a big moment for WrestleMania 34. So according to reports recently, basically what has happened is Ronda Rousey is expected to come into WWE and build a storyline for WrestleMania 34 and potentially afterwards. Woo! This is really exciting stuff. And the reason why it's really exciting, guys, is because Ronda Rousey is pretty much at this point done with UFC. I think it hasn't been entirely confirmed, but pretty much all the speculation has led to the fact that Ronda won't be in the UFC anymore as she plans to retire from MMA. And we all know about Shayna Baszler, who had come out to WWE for the Mae Young Classic, and Ronda Rousey was obviously there. They did a little bit of teasing between the Four Horsewomen and Ronda Rousey. And the big thing with Ronda Rousey coming to the WWE, it's not a matter if she's coming, it's a matter of when. With that being said, a lot of signs had pointed to Survivor Series being the moment that the Four Horsewomen of UFC do invade the SmackDown vs. Raw Women's Tag Team match. That is a creative storyline that's being discussed, which I have some opinions on that I'll get to in a moment. And then some of the other reports have led to Ronda Rousey doing a solo gig leading up to WrestleMania. So, really interesting stuff. I do want to go back to the Four Horsewomen invading the SmackDown vs. Raw match, which I'm all on board, by the way, for this idea. The idea that the SmackDown women and the Raw women will do a 5v5 match at Survivor Series, only for the match to be getting thrown out because the Four Horsewomen from UFC attack and invade. And that's exactly what is needed in this situation. Now, for those who don't know, the Four Horsewomen of WWE are actually separated by brands. You have Bayley and Sasha Banks on Raw, and Charlotte and Becky Lynch on SmackDown. So this actually does make sense in order for them two teams to kind of collide and collaborate with each other to take on the UFC's version of the Four Horsewomen. Now, obviously, with the reports coming out that Ronda Rousey is coming to WWE, the big question mark here is what does WWE do creatively, and who can she have a singles match with? Now, that's the big question mark. Seeing a singles match with Ronda Rousey would be pretty awesome, but there's nothing that I could think of that would really make sense. Obviously, Charlotte has to be in the title picture. Now, if Ronda Rousey is in fact staying in the WWE long term, then it's possible that we can have a program between her and Charlotte. But at this point, it's safe to say that the Four Horsewomen making an impact right away is the route to go. Especially when you see how Shayna Baszler performed at the Mae Young Classic. A lot of people had good feedback. The feedback was really, really awesome with Shayna Baszler. She lost to Kairi Sane, and with that, WWE had kind of gone public immediately after the show, saying, "Hey, both of these women superstars, they're both really talented, and they had signed with the WWE." And of course, Shayna Baszler had gone to the Performance Center. So it's just a matter of when. And I do like the idea of Four Horsewomen invading, especially Survivor Series. Survivor Series, last year we saw Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, And this year, nobody is really sure. Obviously, we have the potential between Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle, between the commissioner and the GM. And I guess it makes sense to do something like that. I think this could be a really, really nice touch-up. And, if Ronda Rousey is in fact staying with the WWE long-term, she doesn't have to wrestle every week. But having her on some pay-per-views here and there, I think it makes sense. Shayna Baszler, who has that MMA background but is now a pro wrestler, she's definitely translated very well. And it's very expected that Ronda Rousey will do the same. And this is actually why WWE had put Ronda Rousey in backstage segments and using her on social media videos and things like that. So, I really get it. I understand exactly what they're trying to do, and I think it's going to work out in their favor, especially when you look at the women's division. A lot of people would say SmackDown has the better women's division, and Raw lacks that women's division. So having somebody like Ronda Rousey invade both Raw and SmackDown would be quite the interesting storyline. And I got to admit, too, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get all four of them involved. Ronda Rousey does not need to be there all the time. She can have Shayna Baszler and the other girls do all of her dirty work. And I think this is why it works out so well. I think there's so much potential, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen long term. And don't forget, with Survivor Series being one of the big four pay-per-views, a lot of people are saying that this pay-per-view is sort of falling out, and it may not be considered the big four anymore. This is the way to do it. Obviously, you have two brands who are fighting for brand supremacy. You have a big old rivalry between two brands. It's kind of like Monday Night Wars, but instead it's Raw vs. SmackDown. So, the women revolution is huge, but for it to be interrupted by outsiders would be a very, very big deal, especially in 2017. If you guys look at the pro wrestling product, so many people are so opinionated on pro wrestling, let alone just the women's division. And honestly, women's wrestling has been huge. Obviously, the question mark is, would Asuka be in this match? Hopefully not. Nobody wants to see Asuka get destroyed by the Four Horsewomen. Granted, I do think a Asuka versus Charlotte or Asuka versus Ronda Rousey can, in fact, main event a WrestleMania. Would WWE want to main event WrestleMania with two female superstars? Well, they have the roster to do it, by the way. So that is something they can do. They have a really, really awesome roster. And it wouldn't shock me if WWE decided to do that, especially with Ronda Rousey coming back. Ronda Rousey versus Asuka. If Asuka were to get her first loss to an MMA legend. Yeah, I said legend. I think at this point you can call Rousey a legend. She's done so much for the sport of MMA and for the company of UFC. Asuka versus Rousey, the main event for WrestleMania 34. Is that premature for us to call it? Is it going to be good? Would it be good? Who knows? Would WWE put over Rousey? Would WWE put over their own talent over a celebrity? I mean, there's so many question marks, and that's what's really important to know about this is, there's a lot of awesome potential with the story, and a lot of people are excited to see what's going to happen. But most importantly, what I want to know is how long will Ronda Rousey stick around? So we've got reports on both. We got the reports on Ronda Rousey coming back and creative, what's going to happen creatively. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. And obviously, with that being said, hopefully this is the year for WWE to show why women's wrestling has grown so much. A lot of people are saying that WWE doesn't truly believe in their women's revolution. It's just a ploy. Well, if that's the case, then hopefully WWE really shows the universe what's up, because this is where they have the most potential. This is exactly where they have the most potential, especially with Rousey coming in. She's a big name. Some people say she doesn't have much value anymore because of her losses in the UFC, but I would have to disagree. I mean, we saw it at the Mae Young Classic. There was a lot of eyes on the product. It did very, very well viewership-wise, and it just makes a lot of sense. So I want you guys to tune in, and I would like for you guys to leave your feedback down below. Let us know what you guys think. Do you guys want to see Ronda Rousey in the WWE? What do you guys think of her coming to the WWE and possibly, getting involved at Survivor Series? Or even my speculation of doing a main event at WrestleMania. Do you think it could be done? I'll go on and tell you guys that as far as female superstars outside of WWE, she's probably the only person that could come in and truly main event a WrestleMania. So I want to get your guys' feedback. Follow me on Twitter at Tango with Tango. leave a comment down below on the video. And let us know what you guys think about Ronda Rousey coming to the WWE. Thank you guys for watching. I'm your host, Dango. Later.